Just curious.
It has really helped me a lot because, as you know, like I was like frozen, like I was in a panic mode. I couldn't hardly talk to anybody, and it just kind of shut me down for a little while. And now I don't panic, and now I get all of that and I just laugh at it. I hang up and it's like, okay, on to the next one. It's like,
Right.
and I finally did get past that part of it. So I don't have that going on anymore, which is a good thing.
You're using phone burner too, right?
Yeah. Sometimes if I'm doing follow-ups, I don't, but yeah, I use phone burner a lot.
Gotcha. Awesome. So, Kathy, not to put you on the spot, anybody else can speak up and chime in at any time. So, I know last week, I guess you made those adjustments last week, and I know your very next phone session, you set 7 appointments in one session. Is that the most that you've set at any one time?
Yeah, I think there was like 6, but yeah, that was last week was my best week. It's still not where we need to be, but that was the most that I had ever set. And then all of them canceled but 2, but I did get them set.
Right. It's part of it. Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes we just have to go. Don't answer their call and just go, but it is what it is.
Right.
Awesome. Thanks, Kathy.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. Eric and Madison, how can we help you guys today? I can just start going through, and thanks for being on, Tim. I know you got 1,000 things going on as well. We just want to be as best. Yeah, go ahead, Madison.
I was just gonna say I haven't started dialing yet. I plan to this week though, because I just finished the boot camp and everything. So
perfect. That's awesome. So what we'll do then, so I'm going to put the script on screen and allow you guys to. So I'm going to go through it. If you guys just want to be, Kathy, we'll start with you because I know you'll do it. And give you guys an opportunity to try to, I don't want to say stump me, because when you guys throw an objection out there, we'll kind of talk through it together. The 5 of us on here can probably come up with a pretty solid answer. And Kathy, I know you're on every dial session. I'm probably on 85-90% of them, even if I'm listening while I'm making dials or doing whatever else. So one of the first times, especially Eric, I know you've made a bunch of calls. Madison, this is very key for you. When they answer the phone, one of the first things that you're going to want to put out there is that you are not a telemarketer, because it's one of those things that freezes them when you say that, and it gives you an opportunity to go back into the script. Kathy, I know I talk about the straight line selling system, and everything you're doing from picking up the phone when you call them, you're on this straight line, and your straight line is to set that appointment. Get on the phone, make the dial, the client picks up, you go through all the stuff, and they set the appointment. But everything they do outside of that straight line is pulling you away from it. I already took care of it. I don't need it anymore. I didn't fill that out. I'm not interested. Stop calling me. Just all those things that when somebody says that, it freezes you. And Kathy, the reason you're getting better is because you're attending the phone sessions, you're dialing, you're listening at the same time. And now you're starting to build those proverbial mental calluses. When somebody says something stupid to you, you just kind of keep it moving because it's not personal. And then it's just on to the next call. So Kathy, you can throw an objection at me. I'm going to go ahead and start. So we're just going to go through the script and we'll just break this down in pieces. So hopefully this helps Madison, Tim, and Eric and Madison answer whatever questions you have, and we'll go through this thing. So let me grab a lead. That way I have a real address. All right. So Kathy, ring.
Hello.
Yes. Is this Kathy?
Yeah. Who's this?
Kathy, my name is Corey Williams. I'm with Family First Life. I'm getting back with you about the information you requested for life insurance and life insurance final expense. First of all, I want to let you know I'm not a telemarketer. It's the information that you requested, the one where you mentioned your favorite color was green and your spouse would be your beneficiary. You remember doing that the other day?
No, I don't remember, and I'm not interested. So just take me off that list, can you?
Actually, Kathy, that's perfect. That's exactly the reason why I'm calling. So I'm going to pause. Tim, not to put you on the spot because I know you're doing whatever you're doing, but anything that you'd add or anything you do differently in that point. And I'm going to take it before I do that. Last week or 2 weeks ago, again, I can't believe that was 2 weeks ago. Kathy and who else was on with us? Kathy was having issues getting through the very first part of the script. And they felt like as soon as they said life insurance, yeah, I remember who it was. Yeah. They felt like as soon as they said life insurance, they were getting hung up on or whatever the case is. So I told them, well, your next dialing session, just remove that from the very first part of the script and get to it back on the end. And the very next week, Kathy got on last week and she said that made a huge difference in her script. Sometimes you just have to be able to pivot to make those adjustments. So Tim, anything different you do when you're initially making the dial?
Really, the only thing that, if I was calling somebody, of course the phone rings and they answer them, and of course you're going to say hello and I'm going to say, hey, Corey.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Corey, this is Tim Belo. Hey, I'm just getting back to you about the request that you just sent into our office about the state regulated final expense program. And just wanted to verify a couple bits of information, like your birthday is July 16th of 1955. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And looks like your address is 123 Success Way.
Yeah, actually.
Okay, perfect. And also it says on here that you're a non-smoker. Is that all?
That's
Also correct? Well, good.
Yeah.
You're going to make my job easy on me. I appreciate that. Hey, let me ask you something, Corey. When you took the time to fill that form out, what was your primary focus? Was it just to make sure you didn't place any financial burden on your family due to final expenses, or were you just more or less looking to potentially leave something extra in the form of a financial gift to a family member or loved one, God forbid, if you were to pass away, or were they both important?
I don't know what you're talking about. What is this for?
It's for the state regulated final expense program that you had filled out online the other day and sent it back into our office.
Oh, for life insurance?
Correct. Now, the good news is, Corey, there's probably a dozen different options that you qualify for. And thankfully, they are non-medical. So no nurse, no needle, nobody's peeing in a cup, you know what I'm saying? But the state does make us, actually sit down with you for 10 or 15 minutes just to make sure that, that you're who you say you are. Because unfortunately, there's still a lot of fraud out there. I'm sure you understand that.
Oh, so you actually have to come out and see me? I was
just
hoping
for
we
a
could
few
do this
minutes.
online.
Brother, if I could do this online, that would make my life so much easier. I'm totally with you. But there's just a few health questions that they don't allow us to ask over the phone. And plus, we got to, check your ID, make sure you're who you say you are, and make sure nobody's trying to get, insurance in your name. I'm sure you can understand that.
Yeah.
And also make sure you're not, obviously you don't sound like you are, but make sure you're not strapped to a hospital bed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Perfect.
So,
that's great. Yeah. So anybody have any questions of anything around what Tim just said, or maybe something you do different that can help Madison? Or perfect. Tim, your script was too good. So here's one of the first things, and I know you guys just heard me say it, but it's so important to let them know you're not a telemarketer. So you're only going to get a couple of responses, believe it or not. There's only probably 3 or 4 responses you're going to get. And your answer to whatever they say is perfect. Doesn't matter what they say, the answer is perfect. I took care of that already. Perfect. I don't need any more life insurance. That's perfect. That's exactly the reason why I'm calling. And I don't care what they say. Perfect is always the response back, because it freezes them and it gives your mind enough time to slow down before you get anxious and all that kind of stuff. And oh my God, they said no to me, and slow things down and continue back into your call, back to that straight line. So I think I threw an objection to Tim just a second ago, and he acknowledged it, but he kept right on going. Go ahead, Tim.
I had a lady, this was hilarious, just probably about 30 minutes ago. I've been dialing this evening. Lady goes, she goes, I've never looked at life insurance. I never filled that out. I've never looked at life insurance. I said, well, do you believe in divine appointments? She goes, what? She goes, divine appointments. I said, well, obviously you never looked at it, means you don't have it. So she goes, yeah, you're right, I don't have it. She started laughing so friggin' hard. She started shaking. So anyway, I got an appointment with her. So
a divine intervention set that appointment, right, Tim?
Yep, sure did.
Yeah, that's funny. But and now I'll throw this out there too. So there's this thing in sales called the 7 essentials of sales, and humor is one of them. And if you can make somebody laugh over the phone, your chances of setting an appointment with them is infinitely higher. The second thing about that is when your mindset of when you're setting the appointments, and it's exactly what Kathy just brought up a few minutes ago. If you make it about you, it's going to make it a heck of a lot harder. And I'm not being hypocritical when I say it. When I first got here, which is only about 7.5, 8 months ago, when I first got here, guys, I didn't hate the phone because I've been on the phone making dials and stuff my whole career. Not that I ever bought leads, but calling referrals back, or you went out and knocked on a couple of doors at businesses and they gave you the business cards, and then you had to sit there the next day and dial through those 20, 30 business cards that you got to try to get a hold of the benefits coordinator or manager or whatever the case is, or owner, and that kind of stuff. But the more you do this, Kathy, I'm sure you'll chime up here. The more you do this, especially after you make those first couple dials, the more you do it, the easier it starts to get.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. And if you're using things like phone burner, it's going to, especially when you're first getting started, it's going to push you through to that next dial. Because when you hit resolve or text or email or next lead or whatever it is, when you hit that, phone burner is just going, it's going to push you right to that next dial until you get finished with that. A couple of other tips as you're making your dials, because the script is what it is. The more you read through the script, the more you make it your own, the better you'll be. When you're making dials, I'll give you a quick suggestion. Make your first dial to another colleague or your significant other to get that first one out of the way, and have them throw a couple of objections at you. Because as we mentioned a few minutes ago, you're going to get the same objections. I already took care of it. I don't want it. I already bought life insurance. I didn't feel that. You're going to get those same. So the show is the same. When you're talking to that next person and they give you the exact same response that somebody else did, your response, you'll have some canned responses for those things that they throw out. But one of the best responses that you can start off with is perfect. Everything they say is perfect. Again, it's going to slow them down and slow you down as well. So one of the objections that I kind of put together that it's helped me on the phones for sure. And it slows the process down. Again, it kind of slows them down. When they fill this, and Tim says it very eloquently, when you fill this out, who did you have in mind or whatever the case is. One of the things I say is there's 3 reasons why people complete these forms, or 3 reasons why people go online and complete the form. And I'll go, the first one is you have life insurance. You have life insurance, but you don't have enough. You don't have any life protection for your family, or somebody you know and love just passed away. First of all, it's not a yes or no question. So practice that as well with your significant other or your kids, whatever. Just practice asking them questions that aren't yes or no questions. So when I ask them one of those 3 things, they're going to have to come back with one, because especially if they did fill it out, or if they're saying they're committing to filling it out, those are the only 3 reasons they could have completed a form. You guys have any other reasons why they could have actually completed that form to have somebody come out and talk to them? They don't have enough. They don't have any, or somebody they care about just passed away.
Yeah, that's really the gist of it. But they're going to say something else, like, well, I was just kind of curious.
That's exactly what I was going to tell you, Kathy. That's what I was going to.
Yeah, I was just curious. Well, what made you curious? Still back to one of those 3.
That's right.
Why are you curious?
Right. And you'll be shocked sometimes. They'll be like, my sister just died, or my neighbor 2 houses down, the guy just had a heart attack out of nowhere and just passed away. And we've been looking at doing this for a while and didn't take care of it. Tim, I want to ask you this question. When you're, and I'm going to take this off the screen here in a second, because but when you're talking to someone and you get that person on the phone and you say, hey, Todd, this is Tim getting back with you about your request that you sent in for final expense life insurance. First of all, I just want to let you know I'm not a telemarketer. And Todd goes, yeah, I remember filling that out. What do you do next? If you're getting the positive side of it, you're not getting any pushback.
I just say perfect. Hey, really the purpose of the call is just I need to confirm a few bits of information that you put down on here just to make sure I'm looking at it right. I go right back into the script.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. Do you actually finish the script if you're not getting any objection?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because it's that third paragraph right there. I've said it so many times, I'm gonna say, hey, Bob, let me ask you a question. When you took the time to fill this form out, what was your primary concern? Was it, not to place any financial burden on your family due to final expenses? Or were you looking to more potentially some type of financial gift to a loved one or a family member, God forbid, if you were to pass away? or were they both important? Now, I'm about 95% there, but I've said it enough. I don't have to read it
Right.
anymore. But again, it's just it's getting that voice flexion going, and just staying steady as she goes. Now, I'm not going to slow it down. I listened to a guy the other day. I think I was telling you, Corey, on the live dial. He would say, "Corey,
Oh God.
this is Sam," and I'm like, "Dude, you're going to be on the phone for an hour."
Yeah, I would have hung up on him.
with this cat. Yeah, and that's what was happening to him. Because again, you kind of have to go back and forth to when somebody answers. A lot depends on is how you're going to kind of react to. If somebody comes off and says, "Well, yeah, well, you know what, man." I had some guy try to interrupt me. I said, "Hey, man, you're on page 6. I'm on 5. Give me a second. I'll catch up to you. But let me ask you a question. When you took the time to fill this out, what was your primary focus?" And again, I heard it, but I didn't listen to it. I just batted it to the side and went on.
Yeah.
But again, you've got to get that. If they answer that third paragraph, if they answer it, you got them.
Yep.
I mean, because again, you're asking them, is it for final expenses, or are you potentially looking to leave a gift financially for somebody? Well, if they say, yeah, well, okay, well then you're done. Set the appointment. That's
Correct.
it.
Yeah. And the point that and Tim, you nailed it. The point I was wanting to make is nothing good happens on the phone. And I'm gonna say that again so that it makes sense. Nothing good happens on the phone. You want to stay in that straight line. Get on the phone, tell them who you are, tell them you're not a telemarketer, get into the script and set the appointment. Don't start. They ask for quotes or how much. Can you just tell me how much it is on the phone? Can you mail it to me? All that other stuff. Just stick to the script. Go right back to the script. Then go right back to that straight line. So I will tell you. I
use my first and last name always.
Do you?
Yes, always.
And it's
I
funny.
never just say Tim.
And I always just say my first name because I think it's more personable.
Yeah.
And you sell a hell of a lot more appointments than I do, Tim. So maybe I need to use my first and last name.
I don't know. It's that. It's just I'm gonna try to stack the deck in my favor because how many telemarketers, and that's one of the reasons why I've kind of phased out the telemarketer deal. When I'm, say, "Hey, Corey, this is Tim Belo. Hey, I was just getting back to you about the request that you just submitted to our office about the state regulated final expense program where you put your birthday as such and such."
Yeah.
So again,
I'll tell you. Yeah, sorry about that, Tim. I thought
no, you're fine.
Done.
I'm good. No, I'm done.
I will tell you guys this too, especially this is for you, Madison, where it says, and Tim, I don't know how you feel about this, but that's what we're all here learning together. Well, I'm getting back with you about the information you sent it to the Senior Benefits Center of Nashville or wherever you're located. I do not say that. When I first started, I did, because the smaller the town, I think the better chance you have that somebody's going to go, "Well, where's the Senior Benefits Center at? Can I just meet you there?"
And then you're meeting at Breadco.
Yeah, because the senior or then you're a giant liar is what you are.
Right.
So Tim, I don't know how you handle that.
I don't ever say that. I just
I don't like making up stuff that's not true. So just no reason to do that. But
so do you mention that you're sorry?
No, go ahead.
Do you mention that you're local, or do you? So you don't say that you're with the local senior benefit center, but do you mention, "Hey, I'm local here in this town"?
I'm a local field underwriter.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And you want to make sure you stick that in there. That way, it lets them know, because these people are getting hammered with phone calls from people that are in all over the place, like literally all over the place. They're getting hammered with phone calls. So the saying that you're local schools.
Okay. Thank you.
Great question. Great question. So thanks for that, Tim and Kathy, because I do think it's important. And I think sometimes when you're new and if somebody goes, "Yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I did that. Yeah. Nope, Tuesday works. Nope, I'm an afternoon person. Yeah, 3:00 is fine." All that kinds of stuff. And we're like, "Oh yeah, that was great." And then we just kind of keep going through, but we forget to say, what color's the house? Are there any landmarks? Are there any attack cats or dogs that are going to get me when I get there? Those kind of things. And saying those little things that are going to make them, kind of chuckle, but locking the appointment down when you get to the, towards the end. Now, "Hey, Tim, you sound like somebody you sound like a professional person that's good at keeping their appointments. Is that true?"
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to make any assumptions. So I see about 8 to 10 families a day. So if something happens, if you don't mind just giving me a call, one professional to another, that way I'm not coming to your house and that kind of stuff, and you're not there. Does that sound okay?
Sure. Yeah.
Perfect. And then just go back into the script and go from there. Hey, I'll see you tomorrow. Another thing is too, what you guys see on here, whatever code that you use, I use my state ID, my NPN number, because I have it, memorized at 159 157-189. So I will tell them that number, and then when I get there, just as Tim was talking about a few minutes ago, like with the fraud and all that kind of stuff, I don't know why I do it, but I tend to make a big deal about that when I get there. Like, hey, with all the fraud and all that kind of stuff, I'm trying to build credibility, I guess. With all the fraud and stuff like that going on, once I sit down at their kitchen table, hey, just wanted to show you my license. I'm a licensed professional here in Missouri, and here's the number that I gave you on the phone. And most people don't make a big deal about it at all. But I have had some people say, can I take a picture of that? You absolutely can. So make sure you give them that. A couple people I heard today that were making it out, they set a bunch of quick set appointments, just so that you guys know that what quick set appointments are is when you're talking and the person says, Tim, let's role play a quick set real quick, and I'll be the agent. So ring.
Hello.
We'll just pretend you're at work. Yes, this is Tim.
Yeah, it is. Who's this?
Hey, Tim, first of all, my name is Corey. I just want to let you know I'm not a telemarketer. I'm getting back with you about the information that you requested for life insurance and final expense. The one where you mentioned your birthday was December, March 23rd of 54. You remember doing that?
Yeah, I do. And
perfect.
And what's this about? I remember filling for. I'm kind of busy right now.
Okay, perfect. That's the reason why I'm calling. I'm busy myself. Got about 8 to 10 families to see. The reason for my call is to set a time to get together with you here in the next 24 to 48 hours to get the information out to you. It takes about 25 to 30 minutes. Does tomorrow or Wednesday work better for you?
Let's do Wednesday.
Wednesday, morning or afternoon?
We'll do morning.
Okay. So Tim's actually being really, really nice. A lot of times
nice.
they keep trying to get off the phone. And every time they go, I'm at work, I got to go. Perfect. So am I. And then you go right back into it. So what happens is you do that quick set and they go, yeah, 3 o'clock's perfect. And you don't get to verify the address. You don't get to give them your code. You don't do any of that. And I don't know what percentage of quick sets are actually people that show up. I would bet you it's probably less than 25 to 30%. They're at work. I mean, even the people you have that. Yeah. And that's what I was just doing. I do not do quick sets. I'll ask them if I can call them back and when's a good time to reach them. If they really are, hey, man, I appreciate you calling, but I'm really at work and I really got to go. Perfect. When's a good time to try to get you back? I get off work at 5. Perfect. I'll call you at 5:30. And, just kind of go from there. But if you set quick set appointments, I bet that I have not had good luck with them. It makes you feel good because you can say you got an appointment, even though it's a quick set on your portfolio, but most of them aren't going to be there. All of us that have dialed in here have set appointments with people in the evening for the next morning and got there and that person wasn't there.
Right.
It happens. My one I had tonight, that one I wrote tonight, I pulled up front and I'm like, you gotta be kidding. No cars in the driveway, nothing. I knocked on the door and the guy opened the door. I said, man, I thought you just left me out here in the cold. He goes, why you say that? And I'm like, because I didn't see any cars. You told me a car would be in the driveway. He goes, oh, my wife had to run down the street to the store. So anyway. So any other questions, Madison? Eric, I know you're being quiet. I know you've set a ton of appointments, but.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Kathy, anything else that you'd like to?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to keep you guys forever, but.
Yeah, I do have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so when you said you asked them one professional to another, is there no reason why you're not going to be there? If there is, call me. Okay, you say all that. And then on the other side of the coin, you say, if they try to call you to cancel, don't take the call.
I don't care if they call or not. I ain't answering.
So you tell them to call, but
one
then
has
you don't,
nothing to do
you
with
don't
the
take
other.
the call.
I'm coming anyway. I don't care.
Okay,
But
even if you
I'm
talk to
doing that to
them,
lock
you
the
show up
appointment.
anyway.
Yes, I'm doing that to lock the appointment down. I go to all my appointments, guys, all of them. Here's another thing when you're setting appointment. Did I answer your question, Kathy?
So you don't take their call, or you do take their call?
If they call me, I'm not answering.
You don't answer. Okay.
No, why? Let me ask you this, and I'm not being a jerk to you. I'm just saying, if you have an appointment set with them and you haven't met them before, you don't know them other than their name and their address and stuff and their phone number on a piece of paper, why else are they calling you? Let them leave a message.
Yeah.
They're only calling you to cancel the appointment. And I appreciate the fact that they're doing that, but I'm still going. Now, if it's an hour away or something like that, I might be like, I don't want to drive down there anyway.
Okay,
but
well then
I
that's a
might
good
not go to
point
that.
because
Yeah.
a lot of mine are pretty far, and it's like
Yeah.
I don't want to drive 45 minutes
Yeah.
to an hour, and and they just said they had to leave because they're on the way to
Right.
the hospital or whatever.
Right,
So
right.
it could be a lie. You don't know,
Right.
but
Yeah, I bet you a high percentage of them are lie. But the fact that they actually
Yeah.
picked up the phone and did what they said they were going to do, that's fine.
Mhm.
But if
Yeah.
it's not, an hour, if it's 20 minutes away from where I'm coming from, I'm going. Period.
yeah. Just
And if
go
nothing else,
double
I'll leave
bit
a flyer on the door so they can call me back or whatever the case is.
Right.
Hey, I will throw
go
this
ahead,
in
Tim.
there. If you set an appointment and if I don't lock it down completely, I'm just not going to go. But if somebody says, yeah, tomorrow, yeah, just give me a call about 10 before you get out and say, hey, you know what, man, I'm sure you're going to appreciate this, but I don't run a call center.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they go, well, yeah. And I said, listen, I'm going to be going from appointment to appointment, and I'm going to be having calls that I've got to get back to. So is 10 o'clock good or not? Because I can get somebody else in there. No, we're good. We're good. Okay, great. I'll see you then.
Yep. And it's just it's keeping control of your calendar, just like you would when you get in the home and you say, can we go to the kitchen table? Right.
Yes.
Not that we need to get into that right now, but I mean, that's, you have to have that much control. And the more you do this, obviously the easier it gets. I'm going to throw this out at you guys too. So when you're setting appointments, you do enough of them, you're going to get that hair in the back of your neck's going to stand up and you're going to go, yeah, that person set the appointment, but it wasn't a quick set because they told me they wrote the security code down and they repeated it back to me and they told me what color the house was and all this other stuff. But you just get that sneaky suspicion in the back of your head. Like, I don't know. I label mine 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 is 25%, 2 is 50, 3 is 75, and 4 is, I think 100%. I think they're going to be there. That when you feel really strong about the appointment. Here's why. Let's say you can't, for whatever reason, you can't make your first appointment because you got to drop the kids off or doctor's appointment, whatever. Life happens, right? You can't go until 10. Like that's it. You can't set your first appointment until 10. So you can set a 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, and 3, but you got to be done by 4 to pick the kids up. So what was that? Six appointments, whatever it is. And let's say for whatever reason, you're hammering the phones and everybody you call, you talk to that day, everybody you call and talk to that day says, yep, come on out. Right. But you're going to continue to dial because the phones are hot. Right. Now I don't do this, but I've heard a lot of people do when you start double booking. If you're going to double book and you have a 1, double book a 1, don't double book a 4. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I just put them like when I put their name in my on my my iPad and that kind of stuff, Mr. John Smith. I'll put life so I know what kind of appointment it is because I got recruiting meetings and all kinds of other stuff. But I'll put life and then I'll put in parentheses, I'll put in 4 or 2 or whatever the case is. So if I do get into a spot where I have to double book, I can say, well, this Mr. Smith was actually a 1. He set the appointment, but it was kind of shaky. So another thing is too, and just a little bit of a pivot. Sometimes you'll hear on a lot of if you guys are watching podcasts, like I know Kathy is, me and Tim watch them. I try to watch 2 or 3 a day, or at least listen to them. Some of the stuff that you'll hear is they'll book an hour in between. I'm going to tell you why. You do whatever you want, but I'm going to tell you why I don't recommend that. If you're chatty, even at all, there ain't no way you're going to run every hour on the hour. It's just not going to happen. Or you're going to get there and you're going to be on time and they're going to be finishing doing something else, or their kids or somebody calls them on the phone. You're going to be sitting there and you're going to be running behind. Now, I love the one I'm with. If I'm with somebody and we're writing an app or we're getting to that point and all that kind of stuff, then I might be a little late for my next one, but it drives me nuts being late to stuff. So I don't know how long, Tim, I don't know if you do 75 minutes. I do 90 minutes because I can always door knock in between, and that way I can stay professional for my own well-being. And there's times where you got a bunch of appointments and even you're 90 minutes apart, you're still running behind.
I actually use Paul McLean's deal. And it's all about the scheduling. So if I start at 8 o'clock in the morning, obviously I'm going to be there at 8. But I tell my 9 o'clock, and I've gone back to booking every hour on the hour. Now, here's why. I tell them, hey, Corey, I've got you down for 9 o'clock. If you can give me a window of 30 minutes either way, but I'm going to lock you down for 9 because again, some people with traffic, people may have questions. So again, I've got you down for 9, but if you can give me, 30 minutes either way, since we're so far behind. And the reason I do that is, what if my 8's not there?
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm going to go see my 9 o'clock at 8:30.
Yeah.
Okay. And then again, I do that with everybody, or if I've got some door knocks I'm going to do, I can, now I'm talking mainly final expense too, because I can get through a final expense in about 40 minutes now. But again, I would do an hour and 15 minutes, be there an hour and 15 minutes drive time.
Yep. And some of you guys might have to drive a little bit further than others. And I tried the hour and 15 minute thing. It just didn't work for me because I know I talk a lot, even though I try to stay on point, and I was constantly running behind, which drove me nuts. And then I got to get myself settled down to make sure I'm not doing something stupid when I'm in the home. So I'm glad, Tim, that you said that. It's two different schools of thought. I will tell you, Paul McLean has written a whole hell of a lot more insurance than I ever have selling life insurance. So, take it for what it is, but that's why we're doing this now, to give you some different ideas and do some things that work for you.
Now,
But,
I will say this, that's final expense though, because guess what? They're going to be there anyway, because they're retired. So,
Yeah.
and I always ask them, hey, you guys got any, Tuesday, Wednesday better for you? Great. You got any doctor's appointments? No. Okay, great. So I've got notes written down on each one of them. So again, I always give myself that leeway. Of course, they're going to say yes. They're not going to say, oh no, you got to be here at 9 o'clock on the dot.
Right. Oh God, it just escaped me. Oh man, it was good too. Oh, when you're when you're booking your appointments. No, this is huge because this gets us in trouble. Don't ever have your appointment book be wide open. What I mean by that is people like working with other busy professionals. Even if they're sitting at home and they're retired and they're waiting for you to come by because they haven't had anybody come to their house, which is sad. Nobody's come to their home in the last 2 weeks. You're the first person that's going to sit and talk to them in the last 2 weeks. Be careful of that too. You want to be respectful, but don't get stuck there all day, right? Especially if you got other appointments or other things to do. But from that perspective, try to keep yourself as tight as you can to the schedule. No more than 48 hours out. Because every day you go past that, it just drastically drops off the book that they're going to be there. And they're going to swear, nope, I'm off on Thursday. I'll be there. Yep, that's perfectly fine. And then you get there Thursday and you're standing outside their house.
Right.
So no more than, 2 days. That's what we dial Monday for Tuesday, Wednesday, and we dial Thursday for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you guys might not know, and if you haven't, you will. His name's Brandon Kitchings. We had the good pleasure of seeing him, spending some time with him last week. And he told me this is a little off subject, but I thought this was freaking genius. I told Kathy this yesterday. Tim, I may have mentioned this to you. So what he does, if he gets to a home and he can hear people inside the home.
This is awesome. Go ahead.
This is phenomenal. I wish I'd have known this years ago, but he hears people inside the home, but they're not answering. What he'll do is he'll text them and he'll say, hey, this is Brandon. I'm here for our 7:30 appointment, and I can hear people moving around inside your home. I actually have to call 911 to make sure you're okay. And he said they come to the door 100 out of 100. And I can't remember if it's Andrew Taylor, or I think he said Andrew or Stephen, you told him that. I laughed so hard when he told me that. But again, it's just one of those little tips and tricks that you learn at meetings or when you're talking to high producers, high performers. Those are the little things that take you from, maybe being a $5,000 a week producer, which is still $250,000 a year, to being a $7,500 or $10,000 a week producer, because everybody here is willing to share. Kathy's willing to share her, even though she's still fairly new. She's sharing what took her from not setting a whole lot of appointments to setting 6 or 7 appointments, just in having one of these sessions and then making that adjustment, because it will make a difference. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. The more you do the straight line, the simpler it gets. You're going to get on and off the phone. Before we go, I'll swing back to Tim and Kathy and then see if you guys have any more questions. These things are great. I'm glad you guys are on. You're showing, hey, I want to get better, and we're just pouring into you guys as much as we possibly can. but the dialing sessions, I know everybody's busy, but if you can get on those things on Mondays and Thursdays, they're huge. Every time, and I do mean every time I'm on and I've listened to that, I always catch somebody saying something. I'm like, I'd have never thought to say that, or man, that was really good. Or Kathy, you said you've been on almost every one of them since you started here, and you heard something today that,
Yeah.
I know you shared it earlier, but if you don't mind sharing it again, what you heard today.
Yeah. And it was like somebody said, well, I was just looking for quotes. I really didn't think anybody, I was just looking up for quotes online. I didn't think anybody's going to call me. And then you say, well, that's perfect. You did your part. And now that request came to me. And now it's my job to see what kind of options you qualify for.
Yeah. And I don't know if I'm pretty good on my feet. I don't know if I would have pulled that one out. What can that person say to that?
Right.
Other than,
I know, because
okay.
I didn't know. It's like, okay, yeah, I didn't, because I told you I had the one guy, I door knocked and he came out and he goes, it was an instant. And he goes, well, I was just looking online. I didn't think they was going to be sending anybody to my house. He turned around and shut the door in my face. It was like, okay, then. He's like, he really didn't want nobody at his house.
Yeah. Neil McMahon, that just happened to him. Now, I don't think the person was rude, but he went door knocked this lady, and he got there. She answered the door, and he told her who she was, and all that, or who he was, excuse me, and all that stuff. He ended up going out into his car. And you talk about pivoting. He went out in his car, sat in his car, talked to her on the phone, came back, handed her his iPad. She signed, and they finished the deal.
Wow.
So he literally sat in his car because she didn't want him in the house. So he was like, oh, can I call you? And she's like, yeah. So he literally talked her through everything on the phone, came back up to the door, handed her the iPad. She signed it, and he finished the deal. That was just yesterday.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, or Saturday, it wasn't yesterday, today's Monday. So cool. Any other questions? Eric, you've been pretty quiet or anything. Let me take this off of here now. Sorry.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if I'm on mute or not. I actually tried to say one or two things earlier, but I don't know. But I don't know if anybody heard me.
I don't think we heard you, Eric. Go ahead.
Oh, well, now I don't remember what they were. I'm sorry.
Eric, they say the first thing is the memory.
Yeah. Yep.
One of the things that when somebody says, "Oh, you have to come out to my house," and I think you said that, I just tell them, if they say, "Oh, you got to come out to my house," yeah, I really don't want to, but yeah, the state makes us come out here. I've got to check your ID, and there's some questions that that I can't ask you over the phone that I have to do in person. I'm sure you understand that, right? And I always ended up with, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I thought you were done. Go ahead.
No, and I always just follow that up. I'm sure you understand that, right? Of course, they're going to say, yeah, no, they're not going to say I'm a freaking idiot. I don't get that. Of course, they're going to say yes. So just move on with it.
Yeah. And as you guys go through, and I got to be honest, like I do use the script. It's usually by me when I'm making my dials. I do freestyle a lot because it just comes out of my mouth and people say stuff. I know Tim said something a couple months ago and it made me laugh, and I use it all the time. They go, well, do you have to come out? And I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, that would mean not coming out and seeing you would be like trying to get a haircut in a phone booth. You couldn't do that, right? And they chuckle. It kind of breaks the ice and that kind of stuff. And then you go right back to the straight line about setting the appointment or coming back out and seeing them. And a lot of times, if you mentioned the fraud thing, that usually works pretty well as also. Or what I'm going to do is provide you with my state code. So my state security code, which you'll see that when I get there on my ID, something just to make them feel a little bit better.
Here's another thing you can ask them is when you got to come out to my house. I mean, I don't have to, but you obviously want the best deal you can get, coverage you can get for the best price, right? Of course, they're going to say, yeah. I said, we can do a guaranteed issue over the phone. There's a 2-year wait, but I don't think you want that, right? I think you want something that's going to qualify for today. I've only used that once, and it gets a little wordy, but the guy said, well, that makes sense. Yeah, okay, well, yeah, sure, no.
And that's what I meant about like freestyle. Like you're going to say, you'll get to the point to when they throw those objections at you, you'll have something that it'll just fly to your mouth before you know it. And they'll go, yeah, that makes sense. And then you'll set the appointment. So I do that a lot, probably more than I should, but I'm very comfortable with the script though too. Anything else? Tim, any more comments, suggestions, anything else that we can do to?
Nope. I got to jump on another call.
Yeah.
So, some more dials.
Welcome to my world, right?
Yeah. More dials, and then I got another another call at 8:30, so I'm gonna try to bust some more calls out.
Awesome. Madison, anything?
The only thing I had is, I know we recommend calling one day and running 2 days. This is my first week, so what would your opinion be on me if I started calling on Thursday, so that even if I only booked Saturday on Thursday, you know what I mean? Because I'm obviously not advanced or even proficient yet at the phone script.
I would tell you, just my suggestion, don't wait for Thursday to dial.
Okay, so go ahead and
Yeah.
start.
I would start. I actually dial every day.
Okay.
I'm too psycho to sit and dial for 8 hours. That just wouldn't happen. Now, the time I did it, I told you this, I dialed for like 9 or 10 hours. I said 18 appointments. My brain doesn't work that way. I can't sit that long and make that many dials. So I'll dial in shorter sessions. I'll take 20, 25 leads, dial them again, text them, set some aside, and then door knock them. I like door knocking. That's what I do. So don't wait. Don't hold yourself back and waiting until Thursday to make the dials. That would be my suggestion. Tim, anything you'd add different?
Bingo.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Mr. Fonder, did you remember your question or?
No.
Good thing you got Tim. It's a good
Shoot
thing.
me
You
a
got
text. Yeah.
Absolutely. Or me, Slack, whatever, doesn't matter. I happen to help. Kathy, thank you again.
Oh,
Any questions you have?
I know that. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay, fine.
Libra, anything you'd ask or anything you would say to close out?
No. One thing, people get hung up whenever they get those aged mortgage leads with, I just purchased some recently. And the first one I called today, I booked and I was like, oh, this is gonna be easy. Then I called maybe 10 or 15 more, didn't book any of them. It's like, well, dang, I was like, I'm ready to go on these. But, they say, well, is there a certain script for that? And it's just the beginning of what you're calling about. So these older ones, if you had a regular mortgage lead, you'd be talking about covering their mortgage. So since it's been so long, you can check to see if they already had done it. And if they did, is what they have in place sufficient? And how much equity do they have to protect that part of it? So you have more meat to play with, basically, to, talk to them about, even though
Right.
those older ones, because when those older ones, and I told you, they're like 10 years old. It's like, what am I going to do with this?
Yeah.
But it's not.
I don't buy the $1.50 though. The $1.50.
No, these were the 250. These were the 250.
Oh, I've never had a 250 that old, but
yeah, and they were 10 years old and they were attached to a request 5 years prior. So the original request was 15 years ago. It was in like 2005 and 2006.
Send those back.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
No,
send those back. I did. I just sent some back that were 10 years old.
Well, they all were. I bought 50 of them. They were all at least 10 years
Yeah,
old.
that's what I did. I bought 40 and I sent every one of them back. I can deal with 5 or less. I mean, really 3 years old is, and I've done them before. Like I did a couple 2017s that I was able to close. But now, do you use Paul McLean's script?
I was just getting ready to say that. Yeah.
That script is so good, and it goes like this. Ring, 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 and of course somebody answering like, "Hey Bob, this is Tim Belo. Hey," and you can say, I say I'm with the Mortgage Protection Department. I don't say, here in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. I don't say anything like that. But hey, Bob, I don't expect you to remember this, and I'd be surprised if you did. But back when you financed your place there at 123 Success Way, you actually filled out a form, signed it, and sent it into our office. And it was about, protecting your mortgage in the case, if you passed away or if, you became sick or hurt and couldn't work. Now, again, I don't really expect you to remember filling that, but we did an audit last week and I realized we never sent you any information. So I just wanted to give you a call, check and see if, make sure you're still there and make sure that, I've got your date of birth, this, that, blah, blah, blah. You're still at 123. So again, when you use that script, it's freaking nails. I mean, it really is, because you're coming off very non-threatening. I mean, I call 4 to book 1 on the old mortgage leads.
And by doing what Tim said, Paul McLean's script on those age mortgage, you're actually diffusing the bomb before it goes off by telling them, hey, sorry, we're just not getting with you. We've had a very, very high increase of getting these in. We just did an audit. They wanted to make sure that we actually got you, we got protected. And then another thing that they're going to tell you, a lot of times with these, you're going to get, oh yeah, we already took care of that. Well, did you get the kind where you got your money back, or did you get the older kind? Just something like that. People go, what are you talking about? Because if they're under the age of 60, they could qualify for return of premium. So just another little, little tweak that you could throw in there. But that Paul McLean script for those age mortgage leads, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Solid.
So should I give a list of the names of the ones that were that old and send it to that, what's that email, leads at?
No,
Leads
bro,
at Family
what you're
First
gonna
Life.
do, what I would do, and here's what I did, because I contacted them. I just put them in a PDF file, like when you do on, when you go to
When
print
you
them.
pull them out? Yeah.
Yeah, and just save those to a file, and because they're gonna ask you, who's your VP, what IMO are you with, and blah, 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 answer that, and then tell them who you're with, and then attach it and send it back. Because basically what I told them, said, listen, I'm not paying even $2.50 for a 10-year-old lead. That's basically cold calling, and I'm not doing that.
Right. And that's, that was, well, because I started looking at them and some of these people were already old and now they're in their 80s. And
No,
they,
they're
and a couple of them were dead. I looked
Yeah.
on True People Search and they were dead, like 8 years ago.
Hey,
So-
Bob, how are you? Oh, Bob died 5
I'm
years
dying.
Bob
ago.
died.
dead.
Yeah. Like
gone.
you're really, really late. So is that lead, what's that email address that I send that to?
It's what you do is just wherever they sent you your receipt, hit reply back to that and tell them that, hey, then they're going to email you back saying, here's the ticket created. I need your first name, IMO, who's your VP, blah, blah, blah.
I can just,
what type of lead it
pull
was.
that. Yeah. I'll find that email.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Cool.
Guys,
I know,
gotta
because
run.
it's like, okay.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
Tim.
Appreciate you, Tim. Guys, take care. Have a good evening.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. You too.
You're welcome.